Hello and thank you for enrolling in the Afro Beat course, which is the Mixing Pro Afro Beat, a three-part session, start to finish, including the free loops and stems for you to practice with. I want to thank you so much for supporting this course. And normally we do a three-part session. One where we're going to import the tracks here, as you see here. We're going to mix them and we're going to master. And so first thing is first. When you're looking at tracks, mixing is all about emotion. You want to bring out the feel. It's not just about trying to calculate how much I should compress or get that punchy. You want to you want, when people listen to music, they feel emotion, they feel a vibe, and that's what we as professional mixing engineers does. So first thing is first, I have these tracks here. It's an Afrobeat track, which I produce, and we're gonna start off with the gain stage here. We're gonna play this track here. First of all, we're gonna play it, and we're gonna check our levels here to make sure we're not hitting the red. We want to start with some good balanced levels to ensure we get good quality. So let's give it a little play here. Okay, we're doing pretty good here. What I can go ahead and do is also check the RMS level here. I'm going to pull up the waves, the WLM meter stereo here. It's going to tell me what's going on here and what's the height and the volume. So I would say about -5 dB of headroom, which is pretty good. Now we're gonna compare. There's a previous mix I did with the artist Lady Ice here. We're gonna compare our track here. We're gonna this is gonna be the target here. I'm gonna play this track. If you listen to the top end, the big low end, and that wide sound, that's what we're going to target here. We're going to make sure we have our mix big and ready, radio ready. So right now, as you can hear, we got a little bit of work to do. So let's get right into it. So I have the keys plucked here. I have the kick drums. I have the claps. I have the guitar, synth, bass, and snare. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 elements here. And first of all, we're going to start off with some rough mix here. So I'm just going to rough it in here. I'm going to listen to the track, and I'm going to do some rough mixing here. I'm going to just balance it off a little bit here. As what you can see, what I was doing is just bringing down a little bit of the synthesizer here so it sits underneath the pluck instrument here. Now, as I'm listening to this track here, I can tell we want to make sure it sounds like these right here. We want to make sure that a track there is, we want to focus on what we want to stand out. So this is the track here. I'm enjoying the synthesizer here and the guitar, so we're going to make these three kind of take the center stage, whilst we got to bring up the drums and get that beefy sound. So I'm going to start off with a pluck here. And for the sake of the tutorial, I'm going to be working a little bit in solo here, a little bit back and forth. And normally I don't do that in mixing. When I mix, I at least have like a bass playing with it, so I can know if something from the bass is covering up the instrument here. Pro tip: never mix in solo, guys. You can mess up your mix. Something might sound great in solo, but people don't listen to solo. When people listen on the radio, they listen to everything combined. So let's start off here. I'm going to mute the synth here. And I'm going to mute maybe the guitar here and that stuff. So we're going to start off with the pluck here. Now, each instrument here, there's a certain frequency that either adds or take away from it. You just gotta find the sweet spot, as you might hear a lot on these days. So what I'm gonna do here, before we start off, we'll begin to route these tracks here. Right now they're just going to the main here. If I bring up my mixer board here, all my sessions, all the artists I work with, local and international, I have my routing here. I have tracks for vocals. We don't have vocals in this track here, but I have vocal tracks, vocal com and vocal aux, which I probably compress vocal at times. I have the kick and a kick auxiliary. For parallel compression, I have parallel compression for the entire drum kit. If that's needed, I have reverb, delay, and effects on standby, ready for me to load up some stuff. And all that is coming out of 3 main tracks here, which is the drums, the all stuff that is drums coming out of drums, the music, and the vocals. If I need to adjust as well, and that's routed to the mix bus, which is coming out of the main out. So that's how I treat all my songs here. Also, if I want, I could add VCAs. If I wanted to control, let's say I wanted to control the mix bus here, or the music, I can go on mix bus and I could go to VCA 1 and I can control the VCA, or I can control the music and the drums with one slider here and a mix bus. So it's good to have that there as an option as well. But we're not going to be using that, so I'm going to put these back to 0 here. And we're going to be getting started soon. And I am using Studio 1.4. So let's get to it. I'm going to deactivate the VCA here. And let's remove that. So let's go ahead and do it. So the pluck instrument here is a musical instrument. So I'm going to go down to my bus. I brought that out to my music bus here. The kick drum, I'm going to be sending that through the drum sub. Although I have a parallel kick compression track, I'm going to send it through the drum sub, and I'm going to tell you why. I'm going to send this, all stuff is going to the drum sub. Hi-hats is going to be going to the drum sub, and let's see the snare down here. I'm going to move this up here, and that's coming out of the drum sub. Guitar is music, so I'm going to put that to the music bus. Synthesizer is music, put it to the music bus. And bass is coming out of the music bus. So we have our stuff ready here. So now if I play back now, I can isolate just the drums just by itself. I can isolate just the music. And if I had vocals, I would, I could isolate it here as well. I'm also having an L2 running on the main out, just so I don't go in the red there. That's a pro tip for you guys. So let's start off with the pluck instrument here. I'm going to play the pluck here. First thing I'm going to do, I'm going to pull up the SSL channel strip here. And you can use any channel strip, any EQ. I personally recommend using analog ones because you get the best of both worlds. You get a little bit of taste of the analog texture and harmonics, and you get that nice sound. You can boost more highs and lows with stuff like these and get away with it and sound natural. So first thing I want to do is I'm listening to it here. Let's see what we can add. I'm going to take off a little bit of the bottom end because I don't think I need that. I'm going to be adding a little bit of 8K here. Notice the sound comes a little bit more inviting. I don't need to add bass to this pluck because it's just a pluck instrument here. Compression, I'm going to add a little bit of compression here because I want it to stand out a little bit more. About there. Let's bypass. So the sound is a little bit dull. We're adding some punch to it with the compression and the hi-hats. That's on bypass. already making this pluck instrument here sounds great. Now we're gonna move on now to the other instrument here. Let's bring in the synthesizer here. I'm gonna play around with that a little bit. Pull up the SSL channel strip. A little past 80, I'm gonna roll off. I don't need to add any highs to it. It's already sound great by itself. Okay, that's sounding great right there. You want to make sure both of them blend as one unified sound. Let's go ahead now, and we're going to be setting up some effects here. So I'm going to go to my mix window here. I'm going to go to my auxiliary track here. I'm going to bring up the reverb. And the first one in my chain, just to kind of speed things up, I have the S1 imager. You can use any stereo plugin. You want to turn it all out. And then you can load up your reverb here. So I'm going to use a reverb from Waves. It's the Reverb. Let's see here. The Reverb got a pretty good sound. Let's try the Reverb. And we want to put that after the S1 imager, because if you take the S1 imager underneath the Reverb, it's going to change the sound, how the reverb sounds. So it's very important how you stack your plugins. It makes a difference in your signal chain. So I have the stereo imager on top. I have the reverb at the bottom here. And we have hall, room, plate. And these are very essential. Plate sounds different from hall and also room. And we're going to talk about the controls here. Time, which is increases the more reverb you get. The size is size of the hall. Diffusion is what happens when you're passing the signal through this hall. The artifacts and early reflection here, this judges how much of it is going through that. Pre-delay is a signal. So I'm going to send this pluck instrument here through that reverb. So let's go ahead and do that. I'm going to go to send. Now I'm hearing a little bit too much echo. So let's see if we can clean up the reverb here. I'm going to add an EQ. Be a standard EQ here. And I'm going to roll off the bottom here. So we can take out some of that rumbling from the reverb. Also, I'm going to take out some of the top. Here, a little bit of top end there. Let's play the before and after. This is before the EQ. On. Now we can play around with the time, the size. Delay. Now let's play it before and after. Before. The sound is kind of a little stagnant there with reverb on. Now we might come back and tweak the reverb, but we're going to work with that for right now. You might say, how do you know when and when not to add reverb? You just have to experiment, mute certain stuff while when you're playing back the mix, and put a reverb on, see if it adds anything. Now also I'm gonna send this. I want to get a little bit more wider sound, so I'm gonna go to one of my effects track here, and I'm gonna bring up the doubler from waves here. I've deactivated the direct signal so that the centerpiece don't come out, or else it's gonna sound like a parallel compression here. I just want the sides, which is delayed a couple of milliseconds here. So when I send the sound through it, I'm going to get a little bit more width. If I add too much, I'm going to get some chorus sound. So let's experiment with that. I'm going to play it back. I'm going to send a little bit of doubler. Let's exaggerate the signal. So I'm getting away with a little bit more sound. Let's try it out with the synth pad. Already you can hear the sound is shaping up beautiful. If you want to add some rhythmical vibe to it, let's go to the delay here. I'm going to be using the H delay from Waves. And I'm going to set this to ping pong mode, and I'm going to take off a little bit of the low end here, so we just get a little bit of a centerpiece. I'm going to bring down the feedback here, and we're going to listen to the way how the sound is behaving here. Let's go ahead and do that. I'm going to send it to the H delay. Now what happens, it's a dry delay. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to send the output of this delay to the reverb. So we have some wet delay here. So we're going to get a little bit more space because the reverb is already packing the S1 imager. So let's turn on the reverb here. I'm going to send it through the delay and then see what we got. I'm going to push the signal a little bit more. Let's take off a little bit more of the top end. We can experiment with the lo-fi. So what sound? Let's bring in the synth. Okay, we're sounding good here. I'm hearing a couple of artifacts in the synth here. I'm going to take out some of this. Let's take out some resonance here. And so you can hear we're building progress here. Let's go ahead. I'm going to be boosting and cutting. Cut a little bit out. Don't want to go with too much. Got a little bit of body there. Now you can hear that delay just at the last piece. When the pluck hits, it gives a musical delay to it. If I want, I could listen to just the delay. Let's check that out a little bit there. Let's. Okay, so let's get back to it now. And so we want to utilize the best. We want to make sure we're bringing out the instruments here. And we're going to go now to the drum kits here. We have the guitar as well. We're going to get to that. Let's listen to the guitar here a little bit. right off the bat, I'm sure we're gonna need some help here. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna bring up the GTR from Waves. You can use any guitar pedals and sounds you can use. So I'm gonna bring this up here. Take a little bit of while. Bear with me, guys. Remember to visit my website if you want to buy stems. If you want me to mix and master for you, you can contact me on my website. Get that international sound. These courses are turning you into professionals, and I appreciate your support and spread the word. So I'm gonna go through some presets here for this guitar here and see what sounds great right off the bat. Now it's not everything you need to put a delay on, so don't go too wild with it. Now the gate and combined with the compressor here on a GTR is adding a little bit of punch and body to the guitar, which we like. EQ sounds great too. Now let's go ahead and make some adjustments here. I'm going to pull up the SSL channel strip here just because I want to. And the reason why I'm doing it, because if I need a little compression, it's already there. So let's go ahead. I'm going to roll off the bottom end from the guitar here. I'm going to experiment with the top end there. I'm gonna reverse. I'm gonna soften the attack here. I'm gonna do some compression. Just so he catches the guitar right by there. Let's check the phase. Sometimes things sound better on the other side of the phase. So what we're doing here with the guitar, we're boosting a little bit of highs here, and we've switched the switch of the attack to soften. So it's not going to make the guitar sound punchy. It's going to control that smack and that strum it's already doing, because there's a lot of aggression here. But this is an afro beat, so I want to tame this guitar a little bit here. So that's what we're doing. Now we're going to be adding some of the effects that we already have to see if that works. Let's start off with the doubler. A little bit. I'm going to add the reverb. I'm going to back off a little bit because I still want it to sound a little bit more acoustic, a little bit more real. Let's try a delay. A nice back wall there. Let's see how it sounds with the rest of the instruments. You see what I told you earlier about mixing in solo? The guitar might sound good here, but compared to the other instruments, they're much brighter than the guitar. So, but for the sake of the tutorial, we're gonna try to help you out. back off a little bit on the delay here. Now let's go down to the bass guitar here. Pull up an SSL EQ. Now the bass is a very tricky instrument when it comes to the low end here. So sometimes you have to take away, sometimes you have to add. So first of all, for bass, everything below 80 normally can go, unless you're doing an 808 bass. You might want to high pass just about 40 or 50 just to preserve the punch. So I'm going to go with about 80 and see how that sounds if I'm losing anything here. All the way to about 80. If I go past 80, I lose the strength of the bass, literally. Off, on. What I'm going to do, I'm going to take a little bit of the 150 just to make room for the kick. About 1 dB. Now we need some power for this bass, so what we're going to do is we're going to be adding a harmonic saturation plug here, the NLS, just to fatten things up a little bit here. So it's passing through the desk here. I'm going to crank this thing up. We're going to use the mic console here. Let's just input the drive. Right about there. Let's take off the top end here. Maybe a little bit of 400 here. Definitely we want to compress this bass guitar here. So I'm going to bring up a bus compressor here. We can control the bass here. Let's use I'm going to use the one from the Waves better. SSL comp. And this is stage 1, guys. We're arranging, we're mixing the individual instruments here. We're listening to what they need. We're treating it to get a little bit more musical vibe, delays and that stuff. But I'm going to stop there for now, and remember to support me. I'm going to meet you in session 2 where we continue the mixing phase, and we're going to balance these things off and bring in the big drum. So I'll catch you guys in course 2. Hello students, and welcome back to part 2 of our Pristine Productions Pro Mixing Pro Afrobeat 3-part session here, start to finish, with the free stems and loops provided for you to practice with. Also, my How to Mix Reggae is out as well, so you can enroll. The link will be on my website as well, also on the Coursecraft. Feel free to subscribe to my YouTube page and visit my website as well. But last part we stopped was getting the instruments together and dealing with the low end with the bass. So we're going to kick it off right there. So let's get back to the bass here. So we have the bass guitar here. What we did, we rolled off a little bit of 80. We took out a little bit of 150 and a little bit of 3 dB at about 400 kilohertz here. And we took out the top end, and also we boosted the bass with a little bit of analog harmonics to give it a bit more present, a little more power, along with some compression here. So if I turn off the inserts for the bass is not really defined. So let's now get back to the, we're going to start off with the drums here now. So I'm going to take a look at the drum. Let's bring in the drums here, and now all of them are routed in the drum bus. So let's go ahead and do that. I'm going to do a little bit of balance here. Bring the hats a little bit down. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to take a look at the kick drum here. And I'm going to do a little bit of EQ here. I'm going to pull up, let's pull up the, let's see, I'm going to use, let's use a random EQ here. I'm going to try the API. Let's try the API here. I'm going to play with the bass. I'm going to quiet that bass a little bit there. Now we want to make sure we get some good low end on the kick. Right now I'm hearing some nice snap. I'm going to turn on the analog switch. Let's start off with 30. About 60 dB is good. Let's try 60. Before, after. So I'm getting some good low end there. I'll keep it about 6 dB. Let's try a little bit of 4K. Just to get a little bit more punch there. Let's bring in the rest of the drums. Now the clap here is there are certain frequencies that I'm not liking in this clap. So let me go ahead and take those frequency outs here. So I'm gonna bring out clean EQ. I'll do a little bit of surgery work here. About there. About there. I don't need to roll off anything, you know. I'm gonna add a little bit of the widener. So I want to get that big sound, right? The hi-hats is a little bit harsh, of which I can hear. So I'm going to go to a de-esser here rather than using an EQ, so we can retain some of the clarity here. So I'm going to pull down the threshold here. Maybe right about there. The frequency is set to about 5. Let's go about 6K. So it off, on. Let's hear the snare. The snare drum needs a little bit of brightening, maybe a little bit of weight here, so I'm going to pull up another EQ here. Let's try a little bit of 8K. Try a little bit of 250. Off, on. It's amazing how the EQ already make it sound like it's being compressed. Bring down the output a little bit here. Let's take off a little bit of top end. Find some resonance here. Right about there. Sounds better. Okay. Now let's continue here. What I'm going to do here, we're going to open back the pluck here, and I'm going to check out the drum. We're going to do some parallel compression here. Sometimes subtle, sometimes a lot, just to ensure that the overall drum kit now is beefing up. There are rare cases where I don't use parallel compression, just do some EQs. But let's check out on our target here, see where we're going with the low end. And normally I reference tracks coming to the end of the mix and mastering here, so we know where we're going. So all right, so we're getting there. So now I'm gonna go on my drum compression auxiliary track here. I'm gonna load up the SSL here, and I'm gonna turn off the pluck. I'm gonna turn off the bass so we can hear the drums alone. Now I'm gonna increase the signal here, and I listen to the drums getting a little bit more beefy. Right about there, just when you start to feel it. Off, on. Now I'm gonna compress this signal here. So right about there. You can also experiment. You want to go super hard compression. You can, you know, by super compressing a copy of the kit, it brings out the power. Also, I'm going to use the Pugue Tech here. We're going to start at 30 and we're going to do some boosting here. Off. It's adding some nice weight. Let's try 60. Try 100. I think I like 60 better. Also, we can attenuate. And attenuation is whenever I'm boosting here, attenuation. This is what the Pugue Tech is doing. I'm going to show you a quick example here. What the Pugue Tech is doing is, let's say I'm boosting 110. I also have the attenuation knob doing this as well. It's taking a little bit of 110 as well. In this way, we don't over boost. It keeps everything nice and subtle. So that is what the attenuation knob is doing here. So I'm boosting about 10 dB. It's crazy, but it works because it's parallel compression here. And it's the same thing for the high frequency area here. So off, on. Now the both compressed version and the natural drum kit here is coming out of this main drum bus. So I'm going to load up SS channel strip here. And just to be on the safe side, we're going to roll off a little bit of 40 here. Maybe take out some of the harshness, about 3K. So we're doing like a little drum pre-mastering here. Maybe a little bit of more power here on the... One thing to always check, guys, is to... the frequency you're boosting. We're boosting 30 and 60 about 1 dB. Let's back off a little bit. Now on the drum bus here, I'm gonna boost. Let's boost about. Let's try 80 and see how it feels. I'm gonna turn on the bell here. That 2 dB is already making a good difference here. Let's bring in drums. Let's bring in the bass. We're sounding nice. So let's compare what we have here. without the parallel compression. Drums are a little bit quiet. Parallel compression. And also the SSL channel strip here. Off, on. Let's bring in the synth. Now we're going to bring in the guitar here, and let's see how they sound together now. Remember I told you earlier, like we might have to come back to the guitar, so let's make some adjustments here and see if we can get it a little bit more defined here. In this case here, we're using the reverb to push the guitar a little bit more at the back so it doesn't crowd up too much to the front. So we're setting up the stage here. We're pushing the musician a little bit behind the lead singer here. No reverb. Guitar comes to the front. Reverb. Guitar goes to the back. Now on the pluck here, I'm hearing that we might need to get a little bit more present, a little bit more volume. So rather than boosting volume here, keep in mind you wanna, as a guideline, keep your fader below 0 here. If you need more volume, add a compressor. Or I'm gonna use the NLS here to get a little bit more harmonic presence here. So I want this to dominate the mix more. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that. Loving that. Let's knock out some resonance. Okay, sounding good, sounding good. Now we're coming out here to the mix. At this point here on the mix bus here, I'm gonna put the BX digital or any mid-side EQ here. Let me use I'm gonna use the Waves HQ. Let's go into that. If I go underneath the mastering here, let's see here. We'll use the HEQ. Okay, that's the O zone. Any mid-side EQ would work. Okay, here's the HEQ here. I'm gonna switch this to, I'm going to take off the chain here at LNR. I'm going to go to MS mode here. And I can isolate either the sides or the middle for the stereo here. So let's do a little bit of setup here. I'm going to push a little bit more of the sides. also a good thing to practice is you can put a bus compressor on the mix bus here and mix into it with little compression here. Try not to go overboard. Or we can use a tape machine. So what I'll do here, let's try the slate here. We're gonna try a tape machine. Sometimes mixes don't have to be compressed. Sometimes you just leave it there, you know, or very little compression here. So don't try to think that it's just a one catalog setting, you know. This is gonna add a little bit more oomph and weight to the entire mix. But before we do that, we're gonna compare to make sure we're not overdoing the mix. So let's play this back. Magic AB here.
I feel the same way. Ooh, but I see, can't you see? You and the she,
Judging from what I'm hearing there, I don't need too much low end here. We got to make sure we keep it balanced and nice. So what we can do as well for this is as we can come up with ways. I'm going to add another bus here. And I'm going to call this GTR effects. We can come up with some creative effects here for the song here. Let's say this was a female artist, you know, and that stuff. We can come up with some delays or, you know, stuff. Make the music organic and more interesting rather than have a bunch of instruments just playing there. You want movement, like a live concert. There's a part where maybe the lead guitar plays some riffs to hype up the sound, you know. So you want, as an engineer, to create a vibe for the song. That's why mixing is very imperative, very important that you put emotions and be very creative with your arrangement. So I'm going to go through a couple of presets here, and I'm going to send the guitar through the bus here. I'm going to send it through the reverb, so it pushes the effect back so it doesn't get in the way of anybody if the vocals was going to be there. So let me open up the GTR here, and I'm gonna open up my send. I'm gonna take out the pluck here, and I'm gonna send it through the GTR. Let's see how it sounds. GTR. Try some overdrive here. Okay, I'm liking that. Now let's say if we had a female vocalist here on this track here, what we could have done is automate. It's like animation, automate. So moving these knobs here to give the guitar a little bit more reverse and echo feel on when the singer hits a certain note. Let's play around. Let's back off a little bit on the send. Let's see how it sounds with the song. Now the guitar itself, if you listen to the guitar here, we hear a lot of the delays. And there's no rules, guys. It might sound a lot there, but in the mix it sounds like a nice like a strum. So we can always add more, you know. We can add distortion, maybe a little wah. Let's see how that wah sound. Sounds nice right there. Maybe do some automation. Let's play it in a song and see how it sounds. Back off on the feedback. You want it to sound musical, so by the time it hits the first bar, the delay kind of fades out and doesn't re-delay too much. So that is what the feedback controls here. And so at this point here, we're going to use a bus compressor here to keep things nice and balanced here. So we got a little bit more push here. I'm going to set it to mid side here. I'm going to set the ratio to 1.5, threshold all the way down, attack to about 30. With the attack, the more the number, the more the natural transient and the natural attack of the instrument is going to pass through. The less the number, is going to soften up the instrument. I'm going to put the release to about 1, the fastest release here. Here's a sidechain high pass, so everything above 60 it's going to ignore, or below 60. I'm sorry. If I set it to 500, only stuff above 500 is going to get compressed. So I'm going to leave that off because I want the low end as well. Or let's set it to 60. Grit is going to add a little bit more analog feel to it. So I'm going to engage the compressor now. Let's play the track. Compressor on. Now for the for this kind of song here, I'm gonna add a little like a 2 ratio here, so I get a little bit more compression going here. Off, on. Let's add a little bit more of the kick drum here. I'm going to boost the output. Also, what I'm going to add on the kick here, we didn't put a high pass filter here just to clean up the bottom here. I know we did one on the entire kit, but also in the individual sound. So let's go ahead and do that. I want to make sure you hear that kick coming nice and true. Then I'm going to listen to this here. I'm going to roughen the mix a little bit more, get a nice balance here, make sure the drum kit is being heard and everything. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's widen this clap it a little bit more. I'm going to be using something that is only in Studio One. It's Binaural Pan. It's going to mess with the size of the stereo and give it a little more like 3D sound. Let's increase it. maybe a little bit leaning there to the right a little bit here. Adjust the feedback here a little bit. And our L2 here is keeping things under control as we go along here. That's the reason why I put it there in the first place. So let's compare now with this and the artist. Let's brighten up the guitar a little bit here. I'm going to do that. Did you know when sometimes if you don't boost things in a proper bright area, it won't sound as wide? So it's very important we pay attention. But we're going to stop there today. We're having things well on the way, very deadly close to our target goal. The last step is going to be, we're going to be mastering this track here. So stay tuned. And remember, you can download this to practice on your own. There's a BPM right down there, 110. And remember to also hit me up and enroll in the mixing reggae course as well. You're going to learn a lot. And support me on my Pristine Productions YouTube and website. So I'm going to see you guys in class 3. Welcome back to part 3 of our session here. We're talking about a Mixing Pro Afrobeat 3-part session here, start to finish, along with the free stems included, which you can download and practice as well. And I'm happy you enrolled and join us. Feel free to check out my website as well. If you want me to mix and master for you, you can contact me on the website, buy my sample packs and my contact libraries as well. We have 2 drum kits out for reggae. So last part, we talked about mixing the instruments here, creating the effects and creating the vibe. And now we're preparing for the mastering stage here. So what we're going to do, we're going to play the track one more time. And we're going to reference the target as well. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's reference the track here. Okay, so what we're going to do here is we're going to take the song and we're going to master it now. You want to make sure you double check to see if there's any part, you need to rebalance and that stuff. Let me raise up the volume here a little bit more so I can. So let's head over to the master chain here. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to shift from the HEQ light here, and I'm going to use the BX digital just so we can get some more texture and sound to it here. Now in mastering, what we do is we have the middle and the sides. So we're going to listen to the sides here. Then we're going to go ahead and make some adjustments here. So let's listen to how the side sounds here. I'm going to play the track back here. I'm going to listen to the sides. So a general rule of thumb here, you want to make sure you roll off about, let's say about maybe 89 here. You want to clean up the low end from the sides. And also you want to make sure you search for frequencies that are not sounding too hot. Maybe right about there. I'm going to pull that down a little bit there. This helps balance the stereo mix. Maybe right about there. I'll pull out about 2.87K. I'm going to bring it down a little bit here. And I'm going to bring down a little bit a low pass here. Maybe about 18. Let's bring it down to about 18 here so we don't over brighten the mix. Now let's go ahead and listen to the side, the middle here. I'm going to hit on the solo button here. I'm going to roll off a little bit of 20. I'll look for some frequency here in that I don't like. When you're sweeping through frequency, guys, especially for mastering, try not to go over a dB or so. I know there's no rules to it, but it's a guideline so you don't alter or change the vibe of the output mix that you work so hard to mix. So right about 455 here, I'm going to dip a little bit. Let's play it back now. Let's bypass off.